Greetings and welcome to another Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team review, where today I'm going over the Inquisitorial Agent Kill Team for Kill Team from the Ashes of Faith box. But before we get into things, please remember to like and subscribe as well as comment. Let me know what you thought of this video. Did you like it, not, disagree, you know, all of that, let me know. Remember, I've got a Discord you can check out for free in the episode description below, as well as an affiliate link to Element Games, and a Patreon if you want to give me some more support. But let's get on with this Kill Team review. So first up, I'm going over the Ashes of Faith Inquisitorial Agent Kill Team. So all the rules for this kill team can be found in the Ashes of Faith box, but while they're mainly a narrative kill team, they're also designed for competitive play, which is why I'm going over them. So I'll now go over all the rules as well as, how to build and field them. So for the roster, they have the archetype of any. So I'm not sure what this archetype is. I mean, seriously, they can take any archetype, right? But it's just funny they didn't write them all then just throw any, but it kind of represents considering how this kill team works. So you have a kill team that consists of 12 agents, or 7 Imperial Inquisitorial agents and 1 ancillary support. And spoilers, you only get 7 in the Ashes of Faith box. So your operatives are selected as follows. You always get the Interrogator and the Tome Skull. Then you have your Inquisitorial agents as follows. You either select 10 or 5. 5 if you want ancillary support, 10 if you want just a pure Inquisition kill team. So you've got all of those operatives, and then your gun servitor. You can only include each operative once unless you are not including ancillary support. When you can, in that case, you can get 2 gun servitors, right? So you have some more flexibility, but obviously your gunners have to have different weapons. The interesting thing about this kill team is its ancillary support. So if you're a Vet Guard player, you're very familiar with this. So if you only take 7 Inquisitorial agents, you can either take 5 Sisters of Silence in any combination, and then 5 Tempestus Scions, as shown below. When you select your ancillary support, they replace their faction keyword with Inquisitorial Agent, and all their stuff that would buff their kill team. So for example, if you pick Vet Guard, instead of saying Vet Guard, you'd replace that with Inquisitorial Agent. So like if you take a comms from another ancillary support, it will affect all your kill team, so you don't have to worry too much about that. They don't get their abilities unless it's printed on their datasheet, and they don't get their equipment and faction ploys and stuff. So it's actually quite limiting and quite vanilla. The other thing is you get more than just those 2. You can have 5 Exaction Squad, 5 Kazakin, 6 Imperial Navy Breaches, or 6 Vet Guard. And I could spend a long time talking about this, but after playing some games, generally I find 6 Vet Guard are the best, just because they're the oldest with some interesting interactions. Sadly, you can't take the spotter. And remember, when you're selecting Vet Guard and Kazakin, you can only have 2 gunners, and your sniper counts towards one of your gunners. So that might be a future balance going forward. Interestingly, the Kazakin and Exaction Squad are both 5, while the other 2 are 6. So maybe Exaction Squad might go up to 8 wounds, and the Exaction can have up to 2 Subductors instead of 4, so you're still limited by how many shields you can have. I generally think Vet Guard are the best from how they interact. Breaches are good mainly on loot. The only downside about Breaches is they don't get their stims and their breach and clear employees, which is kind of what makes this kill team. Kazakin are very interesting because if you take their comms can give out 2 APL twice to any of your operatives. So it's very useful if you just want to get more APL on the team. But I still think 6 Vet Guard are the best, but there's a lot of depth to this. So for your Tac Ops, you have Faction Tac Op 1, which I think is probably the best, which is Seize for Interrogation. You can reveal this when an enemy operative is incapacitated more than blue from other enemy operatives. Before it's removed from the kill zone, you place one of your Interrogate tokens under that operative. Friendly agents control this and can perform the pickup action on it. And if they are carrying it, they're minus white from their movement. If you control your Interrogate token at the end of the battle, you get 1 VP. And if you're carrying it, you get 2 VP, in total. So what you do is you kind of can combo this with Rob and Ransack. Someone runs over to charge into you. You kill them, drop this, pick up and run away. And that's kind of the best one. It's just really good. Then you've got no witnesses. So this is one of those rare Tac Ops with only 1 condition. If you wipe out all your enemy operatives, get 2 VP. And it only has 1 condition. No witnesses. Thematic, but maybe only run versus elites, but probably not. Then you've got Investigate Lead, which you reveal this in any turning point. Select 1 friendly operative to be your investigator. The second time your investigator performs the Investigate Lead, you get 1 VP. At the end of the battle, if you achieve the first condition and that friendly operative has not been incapacitated, you score 1 VP. So you can perform the following mission action. An investigator can perform this while it controls an objective marker it has investigated by your kill team. If it does so, the objective marker has been investigated. An investigator cannot perform this action while within engagement range of an enemy operative. So you need to walk over to 2 objectives, investigate them, and then survive. It's quite hard, because by the time you get to your second objective, you will score this and then get 1 victory point, and then surviving to the end is tough. I just think C's is better. And then you've also got the faction-wide ability, which is just Inquisitorial Mandate. So your kill teams have a maximum roster of 30 operatives instead of 20. So it just allows you to select more operatives, which is fitting for, you know, your roster. The only downside is if you take all the Inquisitorial agents and then try and include every ancillary support, you actually can't fit everything still, but it's nice they have this boosted ability. So for strategic ploys, you get Denounce. Select 1 enemy operative and roll 1d3. In the firefight phase of this turning point, the enemy operative is treated to have a GA characteristic of 1 and cannot be activated or perform any actions until the last enemy operative to be activated, or a number of enemy operatives have been activated equal to the result of the d3, whichever comes first. You can only use the strategic ploys once per battle. So it's really powerful, and it's capped to once per game. Right, so you pick an operative and delay them by d3 activations. So it's really, really good, especially when you combine it with the Demo Man's Mine. Like literally just the Demo Mine would just murder stuff, right? So it's really good. So I actually like this, but from how it combines, it's great against elites. So it probably used to be d6 activations, and I think if it's once per battle, it should have been d6. The fact is only once per battle on D3, I think is, you could remove that once per battle stipulation, but still good. You've got Intense Scrutiny until the end of the turning point when determining line of sight for each friendly operative. Enemy operatives within 2 white of them are treated as having an engage order. So it's like the Exaction Squad one, where basically if you're behind cover within 4 inches, you aren't. So really good there. Then you've got Quarry. Select 1 enemy operative to be the quarry until the end of the turning point. Each time a friendly operative fights in combat makes a shooting attack, you get a reroll. If that enemy operative is removed from the kill zone, you can select another to be quarry until the end of the turning point. So it's kind of a 2-for-1. If you can kill your original target, you'll select another target, but you can't keep daisy chaining. You can't go, if I kill him, I get another quarry, another quarry. And the interesting thing is it says remove from the kill zone, which interacts when operatives are just removed. So it's a nice balance. Then you've got Irrefutable Jurisdiction. Select 1 objective marker until the end of the turning point. Each time a shooting attack is made against a friendly operative within white of it, 2 white, in the roll defense dice step, you can reroll 1 of your defense dice. It's okay, but this is probably the ploy you're not going to play that much. Then for tactical ploys, you have Embedded Agent. So you can use this at the start of the scouting phase. And because it says that, you can play this twice or multiple times. So you can either select and reveal 1 of your scouting options after your opponent reveals theirs. If both players would do this, you select and resolve as normal. But the really funny thing is you can just go, I'm going to spend the CP at the scouting phase, and I'm going to wait to see what you do. So especially if you kind of want to counter your opponent in scouting, really powerful. It just auto allows you to go first. And then after revealing your scouting option, select and resolve an additional one. It must be different option to your original section, and the initiative is still determined by original selection. So you could spend 2 CP to make your opponent reveals theirs first. You do your scouting option, and then if you feel they were going to do another one, you reveal your other scouting option. You have to play this twice at the same time, so you can't go, oh, I'll see what you want to do. Okay, I'll spend another CP. You have to spend both at the same time. But I think Embedded Agent is really good. Then you have Absolute Authority. You use this tactical during the battle when your opponent uses a strategic or tactical ploy, excluding the command reroll. Their ploy is not used, but the command point they spent on is refunded, and they cannot use this ploy again during the turning point. Note, you cannot use this on ploys that happen outside the battle in the scouting phase. This is amazing. This is probably the best ploy I have ever seen. This will shut down teams. Like, you're playing Harlequins, they've started on engage and they go dumb on the field. You go, not today. That doesn't work. Your opponent relying on fleet on foot. That's not working. An intercession player trying to shoot on death. Nope. A Nurgle player trying to use, their -1 damage. That's not happening. This is so powerful. Like, really good. So much use. Then you've got Relentless in Pursuit. Uses when an enemy operative performs a full back action. Select 1 Inquisitorial agent that was within engagement range before it moves, but before it's no longer an enemy in engagement range. You can immediately perform a free action, but other than the dash action, cannot perform an action in which it moves. So you could either dash or just fight or shoot. So it's really good there. Then the Emperor's Will uses tactical ploy when a friendly agent is activated. Until the end of the turning point, you can ignore any old modifiers to their characteristics, including modifier to characteristics of his weapons. So it's a nice way to just go, you've debuffed me, I don't care. Generally, though, Absolute Authority and Embedded Agents are amazing, and you want to use Absolute Authority every turning point. It's amazing. Now we come to the Operatives, which is going to be quite extensive, but here we go. So you have your Interrogator agent, who is your leader with 8 wounds, 2 APL, movement 3, and a 5-up save. You know, I joked about him having like a lethal book that would murder stuff. I did not expect him to be like this. So he has a stock auto pistol, or extended stock, sorry. So close range is 4 attacks, hit on 3s, 2-3 range red, or long range 4 attacks, hit on 4s, 2-3. Then you have fists. So I know he doesn't have many weapons, and I was expecting him to be crazy. I wasn't expecting him to just be a guy with a gun. I think generally, though, he should get +1 to hit across the board. So he should get hit on 2s in close range, 3s at long range, and 3s with his fist. It's just really bizarre. He's got his tome, Consecrated Tome. So when you're selected for deployment, also select either the Denounce or Sanctification ability for it to have. Then your Tome Skull has the opposite. So you have Denunciation. Each time a friendly operative fights in combat or makes a shooting attack against an enemy operative within white of this operative, add 1 to the attack's characteristic of that friendly operative's weapon for the combat or shooting attack. So effectively, if he's near an enemy operative, people will get +1 attack dice, which is really good until you look at his profile. Then you get Sanctification. Each time an enemy operative fights in combat or makes a shooting attack against a friendly operative within white of this operative, you subtract 1 from their attack characteristic for that combat or shoot attack. So what you generally want to do is you put Denunciation on the skull and the defensive one, Sanctification, on him, just to kind of keep him alive. It's not a crazy ability, but it's not great either because he has to be close in either scenario. And then once per turning point, you can change the tomes if the skull is within black of you. I think you should be able to change it once per battle with no range limitation, but it's just a bit disappointing. It's really just, I think, the worst leader in the game, because it's just like a compendium leader who doesn't even do that much. Then you've got the Tome Skull, your other compulsory operative. It's 5 wounds, so finally it would go for Pain Token. Only 3 white into the 4 white and a 5-up save, 1 APL. So it gains the Consecrated Tome ability, as per your leader that I just talked about. The operative cannot perform any other actions other than dash, fall back, normal move, or pass. Cannot make shooting attacks or fight in combat, or be equipped or carry anything. Cannot earn or lose experience or have modified APL. Charles was joking to me because he said, oh, the reason it's not 4 white is because it's carrying a book. If this operative was just 4 white, it'd be really good, like amazing. At the moment, I kind of like suicide it up the board under Conceal. Like I go against an operative that's already activated, move the skull within range, and then just have someone attack because they'll get +1 attack. So it's actually quite useful. But because it's only got 1 APL and movement 6 with fly, like 6 inches, if it just had movement 8 inches, it'd be perfect. That's all the skull really needed, in my opinion. Then you've got your Auto Savant, who has your he has a 4-up save and 7 wounds. He has mechanical appendages, which are 3 attacks, hit on 5s, 1, 2. But the real reason you take him is for Scrivener. Each subsequent time your opponent uses a strategic or tactical ploy, executing the command reroll, during the battle, you gain 1 CP. So every time your opponent uses a ploy again, you get a CP. So turning point 1, you may not get much, and even turning point 2, but turning point 3 and 4, you're going to get a lot of CP. And the other reason you take him, he's got a chronicle ability for narrative play, but he's got irrefutable report. So for 1 action point, select 1 objective marker until you perform this action again. While you're within blue of that marker, you dominate it and control it, unless you move out of range of blue or you die. And you can only perform this action once per battle, and you can't perform it while in engagement range, so it's confusing why I say you can do it again. He basically sits at the back, secures an objective, and just keeps tracking for an extra CP. He will refund you CP over time, but you may drop him depending on who you're playing against. It's really hard, but generally he's going to start giving you 1 to 2 CP at least per game, but if you don't value that, I could see you dropping him. At the moment, against a lot of CP intensive teams, I think he's pretty good, but he's not. I really like him, but you may drop him from time to time. Then you've got your Quest Keeper agent, who has 7 wounds and a 5-up save. She has an auto pistol and an eviscerator, which is 4 attacks, hitting on 4s, 5, 6, brutal, unrelenting, and reap 2. She has irrepressible purpose. Each time you're incapacitated combat, you can strike with one of your remaining attack dice before it's removed. Has a 5-up DPR, and then unrelenting. Each time you fight in combat with your weapon, if you're the attacker, you can reroll one of your dice. I wish I had relentless on the charge, and it was 5/7. At the moment, I don't think the quest keeper is that great. I mean, the best thing about her is Zealot, so she's a 5-up DPR. It's just frustrating, right? The skull would give her +1 attack if she's in combat, but still not the best of operatives. Then you've got your Death World veteran who has 7 wounds and a 5-up save. He has an auto pistol and a knife, which is 1 attack, hitting on 2s, 5/7 with lethal 5-up, and then a polearm, which is 4 attacks, hitting on 3s, 4/5 with root 2. He can charge while concealed, thanks to Hunter, and once per turning point, when you fight in combat, you can ignore the damage inflicted from 1 normal hit. So it's not a crit, he can only just a scratch, basically 1 normal hit, but I really like him. You know, he has great utility, and the fact he can charge for conceal makes him quite useful. Then you've got your Enlightener agent, who has 7 wounds and a 5-up save, and is unfortunately the same build from your leader, so you're probably not building this. They have Paired Blade, which are 4 attacks, hitting on 3s, 3/5 with balance, rending, and cripple. So cripple, each time you fight in combat, if you strike with a critical hit, that enemy operative is injured until the end of the battle, so super injury, and no escape. Each time an enemy operative attempts to fall back, rolling d6, subtracting 1 if they have a higher wounds characteristic than this operative, and adding 1 if they're injured. On a 4-up, they cannot perform this action, but the action points aren't refunded, so it kind of traps people in combat. It's a really good suicide piece, especially into like Marines and stuff, where it just cripples key things, and I do like the Enlightener. Then you've got the Gun Servitor, who has 11 wounds, 1 APL, and a 4-up save. So it can either have a heavy bolter, multi-melter, or plasma cannon, and a servo claw, which is 3 attacks, hitting on 4s, 4/5. Generally, I think the plasma cannon is just the best because of the blast. It's just crazy. Because the multi-melter is just an infinite range melter gun, but with heavy, and the heavy bolt is kind of underwhelming. It's got lobotomize, so each time it's activated, as long as it's visible and within blue of friendly operative, so even your ancillary support, you get 1 APL, right? So it's effectively 2 APL when it's near your kill team. Although you're probably going to scouting dash him onto a vantage point and have him shoot. That's the main purpose of this guy. But the overcharging plasma cannon is dangerous, and you pretty much always take the Gun Servitor. Then you've got your Hex Assist agent with a 7 wounds and a 5-up save. He's a shotgun, which is hitting on 3s, 3/3, and fists. So he has Hexercise. Each time an enemy operative visible and within red of this operative fights or makes a shooting attack, your opponent cannot reroll their attack or defense dice. So it's okay, but not great. The real reason you take this guy is because of Chasson. For 1 action point, select 1 enemy operative visible and with this operative's line of sight and within red of it. Then select 1 of their unique actions or abilities the operative has. Until the end of that enemy operative's activation, it is treated as not having that unique action or ability, and you cannot perform this while in engagement range. So the interesting thing is you need line of sight. So if they're concealed behind cover and you're not within range, it won't work. But this is really funny. Like, I think the best one you use this guy against is Felgor Ravagers, because he walks up to one, turns off their frenzy if they've already activated, and then you walk up to them, kill them, and they just die. Right? It's really niche, and he will definitely die in return, but it's just funny. It's just really weird. He has one good thing for him, and it's only because of 1 matchup. So generally, you will never take the shotgun guy. Then you've got the Mystic, who has 7 wounds and a 5-up save, has auto pistols and fists. It is a psyker, and it's an icon bearer, so it counts as +1 APL for controlling objectives. You have Divine Guidance for 1 action point. Select 1 friendly agent within red of this operative visible until the end of the turning point. When you're shooting or fighting, you can retain 1 failed hit as a successful normal hit or 1 normal hit as a crit. And you cannot perform this if you've performed the other action or in engagement range. This is really powerful, especially on your plasma weapons, because you don't have many rerolls. So like you overcharge your plasma cannon, and each time it hits someone, you can turn a miss into a hit or hit into a crit. Really, really good. Then you've got Divine Protection, which is another psychic action. Select someone within red and visible. In the roll defense by step with that shooting attack, you can retain 1 failed save as a normal save or normal save as a crit. It's okay, but you always take the Mystic Agent just for Divine Guidance. Really, really good. Then you've got the Penal Legionnaire Agent, who has 5-up save and 7 wounds. Has a Hand Flamer, which is 5 attacks hitting on 2s, 2/2, range red, torrent black. And then a Chainsword, which is 4 attacks hitting on 4s, 4/5. So it's got the Chem Mask, so you can know any or modifiers as operative characteristics, technically including AP. and you're not affected by stun. And Cruel, each time this operative fights in combat or makes a shooting attack against operative that has fewer than its starting number of wounds, you can reroll any and all of your attack dice. It's okay. I kind of wish it just hit on 3s in combat. The fact it hit on 4s is kind of depressing, especially as you can just replace this guy with a Confidant from the Veteran Guardsman. So underwhelming, but not bad. Then you've got your Pistolier, who is amazing. So they have 5 up save with 7 wounds. They have the Scoped Plasma Pistol, which has the Scoped profile, which is 4 attacks, hit on 4s, 4/5 AP1, long range. Then you've got Standard, which is range red, AP1, 5/6, hit on 3s. Then Supercharge, hit on 3s, AP2 gets hot. Then you've got your Suppressed Auto Pistol, which is 4 attacks, hit on 3s, 2/3 with Silent. And then Fists. And for Pistolier, you can ignore any or all modifiers to your ballistic skills characteristic. And then you've got Pistol Barrage. So you make a shooting attack with the Scope Plasma Pistol and the Auto Pistol in any order, and you're treated as a shoot action and you can't do while it's concealed. So what you can do is move up to someone within red, fire your Plasma Pistol, and then if they're dead, fire their Auto Pistol or double tap into one guy. This operative is amazing, and you always take this operative. Because if you take this and the Plasma Cannon, and then a Plasma Gun from like Vet's Guard or, you know, Kazakin or whatever, you technically have 3 Plasma Weapons, which is amazing. Really, really good. Next, we go into your Sisters of Silence. So they all have 8 wounds and a 3 up save and the Psychic Abomination rule. So while an operative is within red of this operative, it can't perform psychic actions and they are immune and cannot be targeted by psychic powers. So they have a Bolt Gun, which is 4 attacks, hit on 3s, 3/4. Then you have the Vigilator, who has an Executioner Great Blade, which is 4 attacks, hit on 3s, 4/6 with lethal 5 up. And then you have the Witch Seeker, which just has 5 attack flamer, hit on 2s, 2/2 with Torrent. They have no special abilities otherwise. You can take 5 of them. And you might, I mean, maybe against like the Chaos Cults, you go 5 Sisters of Silence with Blades. But because they have no special rules, they're just kind of there. And they are really disappointing. They're not bad, they're just bland. You also get Tempestus Scions. So you've got your comms. So they all have 8 wounds with a 4 up save. And then you have a comms. So he works like the Kazakin comms. He can give +1 APL twice and doesn't need to be visible. So he's pretty good. The only issue is you just take Kazakin instead. Then you've got the Gunner, who has the same option as a Kazakin. You can select all of that. And then you've got the Medic, who works exactly like a Medic. So there's no other change there. And then you've got a normal Trooper, who is just a normal Trooper. You can't even build a Sergeant. I really think they should have let you build a Tempestus Scion Sergeant if you're taking Scions. But otherwise, the Scions just exist. And I think the only reason you would take them over Kazakin if you wanted them to be on 25mm bases, because Scion's on 25mm. Then you've got the equipment, which is interesting. So you've got the armored bodysuit. So in each shooting attack, you can retain one of your defense dice results as a 4 instead of normal, which is okay. A refractor field, which gives, you know, your leader a 4 up invulnerable save. A servo skull, which is really good. That lets you do a mission action for free, like for 1 AP less. A mastercrafted auto pistol. You add 1 to their damage characteristics of that weapon to the battle. So you could put it on the leader, but it should be on your leader automatically. And then Inquisition models. So not everyone else can select Power Knives, which are 3 attacks, hit on 4s, 3/5 with lethal 5 up. Then you've got your Fag, Crack, Stun, and Smoke Grenades. So I think generally you're just taking the skull and then a mix of stun and smoke grenades. Maybe the mastercrafted auto pistol, but probably never. It's interesting. I mean, it's just weird. You know, you have Frag and Crack. It's not bad. It's just, you can see they've tried to include, to represent all the other kill teams. So it's not bad, you know. And then you've got also all your other narrative rules for this kill team as well. So overall, I like this kill team. It just kind of is weird. If you're playing outside of the box of Ashes of Faith, they're quite weak because, as I said, generally you're going to want to sub in Vet Guard as your 6 ancillary support. And then you have the other problem of models you want to run. So outside of the box, the ones that are unique, as in models that don't require you to share a body, is the Scribe, the Skull, and the Gun Servitor. So the only annoying thing about the Gun Servitor is the cannon, all the guns share the same body, so you can magnetize them, but generally you just want the plasma cannon anyway. And for the other operatives, you have to build your leader, right? You have to. And then I built the Guardsman instead of the Chem guy. I built the Pistolier instead of the Chainsword Lady, and then I built the Mystic instead of the Shotgun guy. But what I'm also doing, I've bought the, you know, the Necromunda Hive Scum, because you get 4 of those, because basically you just put the arms on those guys and you get all of them. So I'm going to buy 4 Hive Scum and use them to build the other 4 operatives. So mainly the Duelist, the Shotgunner, and then like the Eviscerator. You know, that's pretty much, and the Penal Legionnaire, but I probably will never use them. But that's a nice way to build them all. And obviously, if you want to easily proxy them. And then, yeah, as I said, I would generally recommend just running Vet Guard and or Kazakin and Breaches on your roster. Maybe some Exaction Squad. But I've bought Cadians to use as my Veteran Guardsmen for this squad because I've already got a Veteran Guardsman and I want to keep them separate. So I can just paint them in Inquisitorial colours. And I have Kazakin, who I'm planning to paint as Inquisitorial Stormtroopers anyway, so they work well to swap in. But I find this kill team is really good when you combine them with Vet Guard. Like, it's crazy. Like, you use delay, then activate your demo. You just kill someone for free. The fact you can shot people down. And it's the weird thing, because the Vet Guard are the oldest kill team, you can't take the spotter, right? Which is funny. But you can buff the older operatives. So you've got the guy with the bionic arm, which has 3 attacks, hitting on 4s, 4/5, with a 5-up DPR. Normally he's okay, but if you put him near the skull, he suddenly goes to 4 attacks. And if he's charging someone with combat support, he's got 4 attacks, hitting on 3s, 4/5. And he becomes really good at securing down points. You've got your Confidant, who can have 4 attacks, hitting on 3s, 3/4 with, 4/5, sorry, with, 3/4 with C-Slit, with balanced. So he basically replaces Penal Legionnaire. And, you'll get a Plasma and then either a Melter or Grenade Launcher. So you get all these options. It's really, really good. And then you've got use with Breaches for, like, maybe if you're playing loot. And then you've got Kazakin if you want more APL because the Kazakin comms. And I think when combined like that, this kill team is really good. You just have to accept your leader is quite trash and is unfortunately probably the worst leader in the game. It is really quite funny where the Servo Skull is more useful than the leader. So I usually run the leader just with the Servo Skull running around doing like mission actions and stuff. That's it. Like, he just exists to just run delay. But I find this kill team is going to be hard to play because they really miss rerolls. And the one thing I would have liked is like just a general strategic ploy for getting reroll 1s on all your guns. I think that would have been nice to represent the Vet Guard element. That's my only real criticism. My biggest disappointment is just that Scions and Sisters of Silence. Sisters of Silence I kind of get, but the Scions just feel so uninspired. Because you literally just look at them and go, I'm just running Kazakin instead. There is no real point. But overall, I really like this kill team. It has a lot of depth, and I think they do have a lot of play. They're going to be very swingy, but like your Mystic's Guide on like the Plasma Cannon is amazing. And once again, you've got your Pistolier, you've got Quarry for that kind of double reroll. And you've got so many tricks. This kill team is so thematic and I think really good. But as like the Votann, in terms of like, it's a kill team you need to practice and know, and it really rewards you for how much you know the game and your opponents. It's really good. And I think it's just crazy. Like, if you take Vet Guard, you have 13 activations, right? And then you can use like the Confidant's ability to group activate the Confidant and any other agent. So you can do crazy combos, really, really good. And it's weird. I think they're kind of carried by their ancillary support and how they unintentionally buff them. But I think it's really nice. I can see where they've toned it down a bit. Probably because I think this kill team just shuts down elites, which is really funny. But they kind of struggle into larger teams. Like the Chaos Cult is really scary for them. Probably Hand of the Archon, as well as any good teams. Like a Vet Guard would be an interesting match. I think Vet Guard would probably have the edge on these guys. But they're still really fun to play, and I want to play them more. And I think that's a really good sign. And like, if I could grade kill teams in like GW's design effort, this would get like A star, top marks, really well done, and really well balanced. And it's really happy to say that. And I think, even if you don't buy the Ashes of Faith box, you can kind of there's so many Inquisitor ways, like you can convert them, or just you use like proxy stand-ins from other, model ranges from GW. It's so open. The only real thing is how many ancillary supports you take, and I think that's really cool. And I do like how every operative is kind of individual. As someone who played a lot of Dark Heresy, I can see the Dark Heresy characters like archetypes in these operatives. So they've done a really good good job there. So I really like this kill team, and if you could get it, I recommend it. But that's pretty much it from me today. Please remember to like and subscribe as well as comment. Do you agree or disagree with me? Do you like this kill team or hey, let me know. And remember, I've got a Discord you can check out in the episode description below, as well as affiliate link at Element Games, and a Patreon if you want to give me some more support. So I'll quickly shout out my patrons. So for my adepts of the crit, I have Tall Bardin, Sam, Ninja Lee 83, Nicholas, Nick, Kenzie, John Thomas, Eric, Captain Murder, Dad of Golden, Average Joe 27, and Arthur. And then for my veterans of the crit, I have Samja. So thank you all so much for your support. It really means a lot to me and helps support the channel. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me today. I'm painting a lot of kill teams, and remember, I've got other reviews from the the other kill teams in this box and the Ashes of Faith box in the channel you can check out. But remember, while no one may expect the Inquisition, you can expect to always roll some crits.